You know, I've been covering boxing a long time, and I try not to feed the trolls. But this time, I gotta feed the troll. Teofimo Lopez continues to use Terence Bud Crawford's name to clout chase, act like he wants to fight, say he wants to fight. We gonna talk about it. Teofimo, he is getting ready to return this week or this weekend. It is his fight week. And I'm gonna be real with you. I haven't really seen much promotion. I haven't heard many people talking about this upcoming fight. It's a fight where he's from, Miami. I know he claims New York, but I heard he was from Florida, for real. And he's getting ready for that. So he's fighting a guy named Steve Claggett, a guy with 7 losses, not really a big, huge known name in the sport of boxing, but that is his next assignment. And he's calling out Terence Crawford. He's been using Crawford's name for quite some time now. He's talking about wanting to fight Terence Crawford. He's saying that Terence Crawford is showing his age a bit and he could beat Crawford. And Crawford never fought no one like him. Crawford's looking slower. Crawford's looking older. Yada, yada, yada. Now, I've already been on record and I've stated Terence Bud Crawford, in my honest, humble opinion, would destroy Teofimo Lopez. That's not a slight. It is what it is. That's my honest opinion. I think that's a horrible stylistic matchup. Now, the real issue that I have with this fight is Teofimo literally, it's his fight week. He's fighting on the weekend against a guy named Steve Claggett. So a couple things there. Terence Crawford has a fight first week of August, moving up to 154 pounds. So let's do some rapid fire. You have a fight this weekend. He has a fight in August. Why are you calling out a man who has a scheduled fight and you have a scheduled fight? You see what this generation, Gen Z, I'm talking guys under 30, this is what we constantly see happen. They say they want it, they want to rumble, but it looks like clout chasing and it looks like a form of promotion when you're calling out a man who you know has a fight and you yourself have a fight, because you know at that point that it's not going to be possible. That's like me saying I want to fight Suge Knight knowing he's in prison. Like, how bad do you, like the whole time when Suge was out in the 90s and 2000s when he was free, I ain't mentioned Suge Knight's name. And then imagine me right now saying that I want to scrap and squabble with Suge Knight. I'm just giving you guys an example. It just wouldn't make sense. You don't really do, where I'm from, you don't really do stuff like that. Somebody's sitting down and then, you know, you're calling them out and clearly it can't happen. So that's one issue. 2 is Terence Crawford's moving up to 154 pounds. You haven't even fought at 147, let alone 154. So we know you're not trying to fight him at 154. You keep talking about fighting him at 147. So it's another reason why, for me, it seems like a clout chase, because Terence Crawford, with all his accolades and what he's accomplished and where he's ranked versus where you're ranked in terms of pound for pound and, you know, stature in boxing, why would he do you any favors when he's undefeated and keeps trying to set history and he's regarded? Why would he come down to he can't make 140, but why would he even come back to 147 for you? There's this old military acronym called WIFM. What's in it for me? And I don't really understand what would be in it for Crawford to go back down to 147. He's already beaten the top guy, Errol Spence Jr., and became 2X undisputed. Now he's at 54. So if he comes back, it's going to be on his own terms because he doesn't like how it feels at 54. But the way Crawford is feeling out at 154, I don't know how easy or hard it would be for him to even make 147 at this point, at this stage of his career. He's older, 36, 37. I don't even know if he could make 147 because even in the Errol Spence fight, I said this, it looked like that weight cut was whooping him. I never seen Crawford look like that, where at the Grand Rivals, he looked a bit drawn, a bit sucked up, cheekbones was high, you know what I mean? So that's another reason why it's like you're just using his name. So I've already given you two very, very solid reasons. One, let's recap. Teofimo has a fight, Terence Crawford has a fight. Two, Terence Crawford's the man, and he's moving up to 54, and you're talking about battling him at 147. If you really want to fight him, go to 154, right? Teofimo his walk around, I know, is not under 154, so it'd just be less of a weight cut. And that's what we need to do in boxing. A lot of guys walking around at these higher weights and they're crunching down 2, 3, maybe even 4 weight classes to scrunch down into these smaller weight classes. You keep mentioning his name. You want to fight him, go fight where he's at, right? And lastly, I hate when people do this. Listen to this loud and clearly. Rats aren't near me. Wire get blood in their earpiece. Not only does Terence have a fight, Teo has a fight, like I mentioned, but if you're truly down, just think about the logic. If you are truly down to fight someone as great as Terence Crawford, why are you fighting Steve Claggett with 7 losses? Just think about, hold on, let's run this back and just think about what I said to you. You're fighting a guy like Stephen Claggett with 7 losses. And I'm going to tell you the reason he's fighting him. Because in my opinion, he lost to Jermaine Ortiz, and that wasn't a sensational performance by Teofimo Lopez. So they're giving him someone that maybe is more of a showcase fight. Maybe it's a tough fight. But on paper, this should be a guy that Teofimo beats on paper. But here's the thing with Teo. Teo seems to underperform against guys he should easily beat, like George Kambosos, or guys he's expected to beat, like Jermaine Ortiz. He seems to do better when the stakes are higher, like Lomachenko or Josh Taylor. But in some of the Pedro Campas and Jermaine Ortiz fights and Kambosos, where he's heavily favored, sometimes he doesn't perform that great. Or even that tall Japanese dude, Nakatani, right? And he said he had family issues then, but he's had these inconsistent performances. But once again, why would you be fighting a guy like Steve Claggett if you're truly ready for a Terence Crawford? Why not fight someone better? It makes absolutely no sense. You should be gunning for, if you're ready to fight Crawford, then you should be fighting someone who's more storied and accomplished than Steve Claggett, if you truly wanted. So to me, it's like fake promotion and hype for your fight. The other thing in this interview, he started talking about fighting Jaron Boots Ennis, and he was saying stuff like, oh, we were in the Golden Gloves together at age 17 or something like that. But then he tried to little boy Jaron Ennis when the question was, hey, your dad said you're going to move up to 147 at some point. What about a future fight with Jaron Boots Ennis? And he tried to skirt around the question, saying that Jaron Boots Ennis is fighting someone that Crawford already fought and beat, which is true, David Avocado. But he's saying that this will be the first real test, and he has 30 other fights of basically bums and nobodies and cupcakes. So he has to build interest and do more to get a Teofimo fight. But once again, going back to my last point, how come Steve Claggett doesn't have to do more to get a Teofimo fight, or Pedro Campa and these other guys who nobody is rating higher than Jaron Boots Ennis? But then a black fighter like Jaron Boots Ennis, who is basically an urban legend. People think he's really good. Some people think he's ready for Terence Crawford, or at least it would be a good fight. He got to do all this extra stuff to get it. It reminds me of Canelo Alvarez. You know, the Canelo man fans, they say stuff like, oh, Canelo shouldn't fight Andrade. He shouldn't fight Jermall Charlo at 160. He shouldn't fight David Benavidez. But then Canelo will fight guys who are lesser than all those guys, like John Ryder, Billy Joe Saunders, Avni Yildirim, etc., etc. But then when there's better names that the people actually want to see Canelo fight, like Benavidez, the Canelo man fans say that those fighters have to do more and earn a Canelo shot and all this. That's exactly what's going on here with Teofimo. So to me, Teofimo's selling wolf tickets. I don't think he wants smoke with Jaron Boots Ennis. That's why he didn't really directly answer the question or make it sound or call out Jaron Ennis. And same thing with Crawford. There's so many things that lead me to believe that this is a clout chase. You keep using his name, pull up on him, go to his fight in August and, fight him at his weight at 154. You want what he has, you keep using his name. But mark my words, and I would pay for the fight. That's the thing. Teofimo's talking about ESPN can keep the blacks. And the other thing is, Terence Crawford, I don't know if he wants to work with Top Rank anymore because he left them. He was already with them. And then at one point he was suing them. So that's another reason why I don't know that the fight would happen. But listen, if Crawford wants to fight and Teofimo wants to fight, I would love to see it. I would pay for it. I'm already telling you who I'm rocking with is Terence Crawford all the way. I don't even have to think twice. This is just not a good stylistic matchup, in my opinion. Prove me wrong, prove me right. We gonna see. Let me know what you guys think.